Welcome back to another episode of Conscious Creative. Today, we're diving into a topic that is incredibly close to my heart. It's authenticity and its significance in today's world. We're going to explore the meaning of authenticity and how to live more authentically. We'll also outline some steps that you can take to actually achieve this for yourself. To me, authenticity is really about reaching the core of who you are, your soul, and your essence. It's about stripping away the noise, the societal expectations, and the conditioning that we've been subjected to from a young age. It's not merely about discovering yourself, it's really about just having the courage to be yourself amidst all the noise in the world. This topic is so crucial to me because as I've navigated my own struggles with trying to fit myself into boxes that were never meant for me, I've attempted to conform, to emulate others' paths to success, thinking it would lead me to my own happiness and fulfillment. But in today's world where social media constantly bombards us with comparisons and conflicting advice, finding authenticity can just feel like an uphill battle, like we're swimming upstream. And in the realm of personal development, for instance, you'll find a plethora of conflicting opinions on how to be a better human. But the revelation that's guided me through this mess of a maze is embracing the concept of and rather than or. It's about recognizing that life isn't black and white. There are multiple truths, multiple ways of being. I've come to see authenticity as acquainted with two sides, heads and tails. While they may appear different, they're part of the same entity. This perspective has been a cornerstone in my personal journey towards living more authentically and staying true to myself. Authenticity is the buzzword these days, but at its core, it's really simple. It's about aligning what we do, how we present ourselves with who we are deep down to our core. We're all wonderfully complex human beings with our own stories, and embracing that and not just the good part, but just embracing all of it. I think that's authenticity in a nutshell. Now that we've defined what authenticity is, let's talk about why being your most authentic self is important in today's world. We know that stress and depression and anxiety is on the rise. And I think a huge part of that is because we're not in alignment with who we truly are deep down. Living in alignment with our core values is crucial, yet many of us haven't really fully defined what those values are. Often we just look to social media or see others leading seemingly perfect lives and think that's what we want for ourselves. And I'm speaking from experience here. I know it's challenging not to envy the lives that we see online, but we have to remember that we're only seeing the highlights, not the struggles and the challenges that come with them. We need to really sit down and ask ourselves what it truly means to live those lives. What are the downsides? Every single lifestyle comes with its own set of challenges. Life, in essence, is about solving problems. It's like that quote that, probably going to butcher this, but it's 99% of life is solving problems. It just comes down to what kind of problems do you want to solve? So, what kind of problems are you actually willing to tackle? This question is vital in determining how we choose to live our lives. Many aspire to be YouTubers or content creators, viewing it as an ideal career, especially the younger generation. However, they might not even realize the reality behind the scenes is being tied to sponsorships and constantly creating content and the pressure of being on all the time It probably just feels like a big hamster wheel, is what I imagine. And the truth is, as a content creator, you're the one who has to consistently show up in front of the camera, and it can be exhausting. I have seen many talented creators just burn right out once they realize the constant demand to produce and perform. It's important to consider these aspects before pursuing paths, and I'm just using the content creator as an example. I was actually just having a conversation with my friend the other day about how hard that must be to be a content creator and having this mix between creating content for an audience, but also living your life and putting that on camera. And we're speaking about, like the lifestyle bloggers, the influencers, the people who, their whole life is living on and through a lens, which I can imagine is a really hard balance to strike. How do you know what to keep private versus show an audience? I think that could be really a tricky thing to balance when trying to be their authentic selves. That's important to think about the things on the other side of these lifestyles that we so want to live. A lot of people want to be entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurship is like putting out fires the whole time. It seems glamorous. You get to work for yourself, but a lot of us have trouble turning off our brains, especially working from home. You're 24/7 thinking about business things, and it's hard to shut off your brain. I speak from experience. So again, pivoting back to what this means to live authentically is really just getting down to the essence of who we truly are, what we truly want. So, how do we live more authentically and be more authentic as humans? I have a few steps in mind, and I am super happy to share them with you. But before we dive in, please remember that this is a conversation, and if you have any insights of your own journey to share, please feel free to share in the comments or reach out through email or social media. So, the first step towards authenticity is really all about self-exploration. I truly believe this is where the journey begins. Reflecting on ourselves, something that seems to get lost in today's fast-paced world. We're constantly bombarded with media, chasing the next big thing, and our attention spans are, well, let's just say they're not what they used to be. I'm guilty of this too, getting swept up in the endless cycles of content consumption, which it leaves little room for introspection. That's why carving out time for things like breath work, meditation, journaling, or even the simple walk in nature is so vital for me. It's the quiet time that allows me to tune in and really listen to what's going on inside. Yoga in particular has been such a game changer for me. It's more than just an exercise. It is a way to move my body, control my breathing, and truly be present in the moment. And let's not underestimate the power of a good chat with a friend. These deep conversations can really open up new perspectives and help us peel back the layers of ourselves that we didn't even know needed attention. And it's through these moments of connection and reflection that we can really dive deep into who we are. To keep it simple, you can start with something like a 5-minute meditation or a quick journaling session, or simply just ask yourself, how do I feel? And let the thoughts flow onto paper or simply just sit with them in stillness. Believe it or not, dedicating just 5 minutes a day to this practice can make a huge difference in your self-exploration journey. The process of discovering our authentic selves doesn't just happen overnight, unfortunately. It is an ongoing practice. It's a commitment to digging deeper and understanding what makes us tick. But trust me, it's worth every single moment. That is why self-exploration is my step number one on this path to authenticity. Step number two, as I see it, is really all about embracing our imperfections. And honestly, who among us hasn't felt the pressure to be perfect? I am pretty much a self-proclaimed recovering perfectionist, and I grew up in a challenging environment where things felt really out of control and toxic. I really thought that making everything perfect was the way to regain some sense of control. But here's the thing. Accepting your imperfections goes way beyond just acknowledging them. It's really about recognizing that striving for perfection is a part of you, and fighting against this trait only gives it more power, because what you resist persists, right? And I've had to learn this the hard way. When I was younger, I was all about controlling my surroundings, aiming for perfection in everything. But when I saw that it wasn't making me happy or winning me any friends, I swung to the other extreme. Suddenly, I was the go with the flow person, the one who didn't care if the room was a mess or plans changed at the last minute. Essentially, I had no boundaries, but that wasn't really me either. It was just another way of trying to control how people perceived me by not seeming to care. Eventually, I realized that the key isn't to swing from one extreme to the other, but to find a balance. Accepting that I have tendencies towards both ends of the spectrum is absolutely okay. It's a part of being human. So now I'm just learning to embrace my perfectionist side without letting it dominate my life, and to be more flexible without losing myself in the process. Embracing our imperfections isn't about just giving up on trying to make things better. It's about being gentle with ourselves and understanding that perfection isn't the goal. Authenticity is. And honestly, finding that balance between striving for excellence and accepting imperfection is a dance that I'm still learning the steps to, but that's okay. It's all part of the journey. All right, so step three, which for me is all about putting our values before trends. So, what do I mean by this? Well, in this fast paced, ever changing world, it is super easy to get swept up in the latest craze. But when we're clear about our own values, suddenly those trends, they don't have the same pull. It's kind of liberating, you know? You just stop chasing every shiny new thing because you realize they don't align with what's truly important to you. I've been there, getting dazzled by the next big thing, that shiny object syndrome. But once I got a handle on what my values were, it became easier to see what genuinely mattered to me. It wasn't about what everyone else was doing, it was about what path felt right for me. And here's the kicker. Your values will evolve over time. That's perfectly normal. Life changes us. Becoming a wife and a mom and running my own business has definitely shifted my priorities compared to my single non-parent days, and that's okay. It's all about staying in tune with yourself and recognizing when those shifts are happening. Staying true to your evolving values is key to living authentically. It brings this sense of peace, just knowing that you're on the right path and not somebody else's. You don't feel so lost or scattered because you have your own North Star guiding you. And this doesn't mean we close ourselves off to how others live their lives. It's not about being rigid, but about understanding and respecting our differences. The variety in values and life choices is what makes life so rich and interesting. So, embracing your values, even as they change, is vital. It is not about being stagnant, but being true to who you are at any given moment. And that, my friend, is what helps us live more authentically, finding peace in our choices and the direction that we're headed. Okay, so step number 4, let's talk about finding the right tribe. This step is a game changer. You've probably already heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's all about surrounding yourself with humans who uplift you, not those who dim your light. We all encounter people who might bring us down occasionally, and they have their role too. And they can teach us a lot about ourselves because people are like mirrors. They actually reflect back to us what we need to work on internally. But here's the thing, when you take a good look at your circle, ask yourself if these people are truly supporting and uplifting you. And I'm not talking about having yes men around you who agree with everything you say. I mean those friends who are not afraid to call you out when you're off track or who challenge you in a constructive manner. These are the people who help you grow, whether it's in your relationships with your family or amongst friends. It's crucial to have people who love you for who you are. If someone's trying to change you or makes you feel guilty for being yourself or setting boundaries, well, they're probably not your tribe. And on the flip side, those with a disagreeable nature can serve as a catalyst deep inner work. It's not about cutting everyone out who doesn't lift you up immediately, but rather understanding what their presence in your life teaches you about yourself. People, in essence, are like mirrors. So they reflect back to us parts of ourselves that need attention, especially those who trigger us. So, by thoughtfully choosing who we spend our time with and learning from those interactions, we can significantly boost our authenticity. The goal is to find your tribe, the people who genuinely lift you up and encourage you to be your most authentic self. When you're surrounded by the right people, your authenticity doesn't just grow, it shines. So take a moment to reflect on your circle. Are they helping you amplify your authenticity? Finding and nurturing your tribe is such a vital step in living a life that is true to yourself. Finally, let's dive into the idea of periodic check-ins. You know how life can be. It is a absolute whirlwind of busyness where days blend into each other, but really just pausing for a moment to touch base with ourselves, to really check in, is vital for staying on our path to authenticity. It's like being on a road trip. Occasionally, you've got to pull over to check you're still headed in the right way. Well, we have Google Maps now, but you know what I mean. So do pull over and check your map to check where you are. And so for me, these check-ins usually happen in the quiet moments of the morning with coffee or a matcha. And ideally before the chaos of the day kicks in. Like sometimes it's before the kids wake up and sometimes it's after, but the goal still remains the same, to ensure my actions align with my values and that I'm moving in the direction that I truly want to go. These moments can really define your day, and it's easy to get lost in the step by step when we're solely focused on looking down at our feet. But when we finally lift up our heads and take a look around, sometimes we find ourselves saying, oh no, this is not where I meant to go. And the beauty is realizing that you're off course just means that you can always redirect towards where you want to be, as long as you know where you are. So as we wrap up today, just think about how you're honoring your authentic self in the daily grind. And it's really just about those small choices, the stories that we share, and how we connect with others that paint the bigger picture of our authentic lives. And sharing these parts of ourselves doesn't just help us grow, it really lights a way for others to do the same. So I encourage you to embrace the journey of being authentically you, to find peace in who you are and what you stand for. Please shine your authentic light. It's how we make the world a better place and inspire others to do the same. And before we part ways, I would love to hear from you. How are you embracing authenticity in your life and business? Please share your stories with me and with each other. Let's keep this conversation going and build a community where being real is not just accepted, but it's celebrated. Thank you for tuning in. And remember that the most authentic version of you is the greatest gift you can offer the world. Please keep shining your light. And until next time, stay conscious, stay creative.